Hello everyone and welcome back to Devi Daily Yoga for this Yin Yoga practice for the whole body. This is going to be a stretchy and satisfying sequence that's geared a little bit more toward experienced practitioners. We're going to use 2 blocks today and we're going to hold the poses for about 3 minutes each. Make sure you set yourself up in a place where you can see me pretty well because I'm going to be offering variations as we go along so that you can find the version of each pose that really works for you to sink in deeply. So go ahead and find a quiet place and our practice will begin right now. We'll begin seated in Seiza, sitting either directly on top of the heels, or you can use a block placed in between your feet and right under your sitting bones. And nestle in with the sitting bones as you sit up tall. And let the hands rest in the lap, palms facing up, and allow the eyes to close down. Taking your first couple of minutes here to feel into your body and to connect with your breath. Let's draw the next breath in through the nostrils and all the way down to the belly. Exhale from the belly, up and out through the nose. And even deeper now with your next breath. Exhale completely, emptying the belly, emptying the lungs. Inviting yourself to arrive here in your seat with a sense of regalness today. Claiming this place, claiming this spot for yourself. And claiming this time for yourself to rest, to invite calmness, to invite peacefulness. Take another breath in. And as you exhale, allow your eyes to open. And let's come on to hands and knees. Have your blocks nearby so that we can move into dragon pose. And for dragon, we will have the blocks at the high height and take your left leg forward. And with the blocks at the high height, we can get this wonderful height of the upper body. This way there's not a lot of weight on the hands at all. And there's more weight on the back leg, which will deepen the stretch. And can you sense into where you're feeling this stretch? Maybe it's the front of your right thigh. Maybe it's the front of your right hip. Maybe it's even into the sacrum and lower back. And now take a breath right into where you're feeling the pulse. And exhale from this place and up and out through the nose. And now take both hands on the inside of the front foot and make your way down into Gecko pose, where you can choose to rest your elbows on the blocks. You could keep them at the high height, or you could put them at the middle height. And we'll walk this foot out to the side as much as you'd like to. You can have lots of space between the front foot and the blocks. If you're comfortable bringing elbows all the way to the floor, you could, of course, go with that as well. So people like different angles here. Some people like to have the elbows closer to the front foot. And some people like to wing this front knee out to the side. And with all this sensation happening in the pelvis now, let's take a breath right into the pelvis. Exhale and see if you can soften the pelvis, soften deep into the bones. And slowly come up. And to switch sides, we'll move through downward dog, and let's place these blocks under the hands at their low height. Tuck the toes under. If you have socks on like me, you might want to be a little careful about slipping and sliding. And now we can drop the knees and come into it on the second side. Right leg forward. Hands on the blocks on either side of your front foot. Place the blocks pretty much under the shoulders so that you can get a nice sense of support by kind of locking out the elbows. And now we're feeling the stretch in the front of the left hip and the front of the left thigh. And as you soften down through the left hip, can you feel the fascia almost kind of melting in this part of the body? And now take both hands on the inside of the front foot. Walk the right foot out to the right side to whatever angle you'd like, and find the height of the blocks that you'd like to have to support your elbows if you're using block. And I'll take the elbows down and begin to feel into the hips. Option again to wing out through the right knee and come onto the outside edge of the right foot. And feel the sensations in the pelvis, in the right thigh and the left thigh. And release, coming back up. And let's walk this right foot back in toward the midline. Take the blocks at that flat height for our downward dog. I love doing downward dog this way. Just kind of makes the arms instantly longer And for those of us with shorter arms, this is quite the blessing. And if your heels don't normally touch the ground, maybe they do with this extra bit of help from the blocks to give you a little bit of extra foot and Achilles stretch. Now let's drop the knees and take a little child's pose, pushing your blocks out of the way. Breathe and feel the effects of your dragon and gecko poses. And slowly come up now and into a seated position to find our square pose. And some options for square today using the blocks. We will start with the right ankle on top of the knee. You always have the option to do this pose like this instead with the foot on the floor. Otherwise, we'll keep it up here. And a block could be used if your knee is up and you like the feeling of support. There is one option. You don't have to have support. It's fine to have a space there as long as there's not any pain in the knee. And now here's our next way of using the block is to have it under this foot as we narrow the space between these two knees. And for some people, this works a lot better. And we all have such different hips, so that's why we have all these different ways of doing it, because everybody's anatomy is different. And you could use the block, or maybe you don't need it. Maybe it's comfortable to just be like so. In these variations, we come forward to get the stretch in the right glutes. And you may be comfortable tightening the knees up, coming all the way into what we would now call a shoelace pose. And you could also use your blocks under your forehead, stacked up, or under your forearms. So you are choosing today what width between the knees for your square or shoelace pose. And once you find the version of the pose that is feeling right for your hips today, feel the stretch and take a deep breath into the stretch. And exhale from the hip and out through the nose. And let your body soften a little bit more with each exhale. Slowly release and slowly change sides. Left ankle on top of the knee or on the floor or on a block. One of the things that we play around with in the functional approach to Yin Yoga, which I teach in my teacher training, is that we don't have to go for symmetry in these kinds of poses. You could be pretty asymmetrical here if you're tightening up into shoelace and one leg is forward and one leg is back. This is totally fine as long as you're feeling the stretch in the target area on the left outer hip this time. You can choose in your pose whether to keep your feet relaxed or whether to flex your feet and draw the toes back toward the knee. For some people it feels better one way, and for some people it feels better the other way. As you settle in, find your next inhale through the nose and draw it down to your belly. Exhale from the belly, up and out through the nose. Feel the body soften and relax here into this shape. And slowly rise up now. And undo the legs. Let's slowly bring it into a wide leg stance for Dragonfly. And as we set ourselves up in Dragonfly, we might have the hands travel down the legs, or we might come forward onto the elbows, or we might use our blocks either under the head or under the forearms. Finding the width of the legs that feels right to you so that you feel some sense of a stretch in the inner thighs. And you might also feel a good stretch in the backs of your legs. once you have arrived in the pose and the variation that feels right for you, let gravity take over. Let time and space take over, putting away the conscious thinking and doing mind, and inviting yourself to simply be. Dwelling in this place of sensation, awareness. And can you breathe into the place in the legs where you feel this pose stretching you? And exhale up and out through the nose, softening the legs a little bit more. And slowly now rise up. We're going to keep the legs in this wide position as we take our blocks over the left leg or whichever leg and come down resting maybe forehead on the blocks or maybe a block or two under your forehead inside the leg. Another option here, if the wide leg position isn't totally working for you, you could take it in with the right foot and come forward like this, which makes it more of a half butterfly pose. Both poses have pretty much the same target area of the back of the thigh. We'll do these for 1.5 minutes on each side. And if you don't need these blocks under the elbows, of course, maybe you're gonna push them out of the way, hold on to your foot, or rest your elbows on the floor. And feel this stretch in the back of the body, the spine, the back of the leg. Slowly rise up now and slowly change sides. Once again, your choice if both legs stay straightened out in the dragonfly position as you come down, or if you bend this left foot in instead and come over the leg like so. Blocks under the forehead, under the elbows, or put the blocks aside if you don't need them. And feel the stretch now where it is. Maybe it's the right hamstrings, maybe it's the lower back, maybe it's a little bit of both. And slowly now come back up. And we're going to set up for our final yin pose, which is saddle. Many ways to do saddle that you may be familiar with. And if saddle doesn't work for you, you can always do Golden Gate pose instead, which is bridge pose with the block underneath your hips. If you're going for the saddle pose, your choices are to either sit in between the feet and lie back over a bolster or blocks or all the way on the floor, or to come back to sitting right on top of your heels, which is how I'm going to do it today. And lean back like so, making sure that the first block catches you right behind the heart, so the middle of your ribs, and the second block at the base of the skull. If this causes pain in your knees, then choose the Golden Gate pose for today instead. And in saddle, you may or may not have knees on the floor, and know that this is fine either way. If the knees pop up, it's not going to hurt you. If the knees open up and don't stay together, that's not going to hurt you either. It's just the tension in your body pulling things in a certain direction. And feel the stretch in the front of your thighs and the front of your hips, your psoas, your deep hip flexor muscles. And feel how the back is bending into a back bend. Feel the sacrum. And breathe into the low back. Exhale from the low back, from the sacrum. Steady, even breaths through the nose. And for the last bit of our time here, it might feel good to reach your arms up over your head. And you can clasp the hands. You could turn the palms away, or you could hold opposite elbows. Now let's slowly release, slowly come up out of the pose. Move carefully, sometimes it's hard to get out of this one. And make your way into child's pose. Bending the back the opposite way. And coming up now to sit in Seiza once again with the block between the feet, or you could choose to lie down in a Shavasana, since this is the end of our practice, and we'll take 2 final minutes here to sit in meditation or lie down in meditation. Notice the energy in your body after this practice, particularly after ending with a saddle or a back bend. The energy might be a little bit more wakeful, a little bit more active. Whatever's going on inside, take a breath with it. Exhale and feel yourself grounding down into the support of the earth through your body, through the parts of your body that are connected to the earth. And now bring the palms together in front of your heart and feel into the energy of your heart as we prepare to chant Om 3 times. Let's begin with an inhale. And that closes today's practice. Thank you for joining Devi Daily Yoga today. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell as well. If you would like to find more guided practices with me like this, check out my channel, which has over 200 Yin Yoga videos, as well as playlists like the complete weekly Yin playlist and the 14-day Yin reset. And if you would like to study deeper with me, you can check out my yoga membership site and also my Yin Yoga teacher training, which is a 50-hour certification program. Link to those are down below, as well as up here in the info cards. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you in the next video.